In South Florida, perfectly good tomatoes lie untouched, entire acres turning red under the sun, not with pride, but with surrender. No one's picking them, not because they're spoiled, not because the farmers gave up, but because they can't afford to harvest what they grow. We once believed that as long as America had land, water, and sunshine, farming would never die. But what's happening right now should terrify you. Across the United States, tens of thousands of acres of food are being abandoned, tilled under, or left to rot, not due to drought, not because of pests, but because the system that once supported our nation's farmers is breaking fast. And this is how it looks when it falls apart. #1. Tomatoes, the forgotten harvest. By mid-June, Central California's tomato fields should have been a scene of celebration. Crews harvesting, trucks rolling out, but this year, silence. No workers, no buyers, just fruit with no future. The price of fertilizer, up 11%. Labor, scarce due to tightening immigration rules, and contracts with processors, cancelled mid-season with vague excuses like low market demand. But the truth is clear. When crates of ketchup, tomato paste, and sauce sit in warehouses unsold, the demand hasn't disappeared. The profit has. Farmers are being forced to walk away from their best crop, because they'd rather lose a harvest than sink deeper into debt. And so the fields go silent. Not from failure, but from betrayal. #2. America's abandoned promise. Once the symbol of American food security, wheat is now a slow-moving disaster. Prices have dropped below the cost of production. Some farms in North Dakota have paused planting for the first time in 40 years. Harvesting wheat now means watching your money evaporate. Storage costs, fuel, machinery, tax hikes, and contracts that pay barely enough to fill a tractor's tank. Even with record yields, there's no celebration, just anxiety and empty bank accounts. #3. Soybeans. The cancelled crop farmers spend all season nurturing soybeans, only for the buyer to walk away at the last second. Contract cancelled. Sorry. Fertilizer prices have doubled. Machinery is up 30%. Labor harder to find than ever. And the final price per pound, just cents more than last year, sometimes even less. Grain bins, overflow, untouched. Crushing plants are running at 60%. And in the background, silence. No trucks. No sales, no future. This crop, once called green gold, now feels like a cruel trap. #4. Corn. The oversupply catastrophe. Corn isn't just struggling, it's drowning, in yield, in debt, in despair. This year's record harvest wasn't a victory, it was a crisis. Too much product, no demand, and prices dropping by the day. One farm ran the math. Harvesting their corn would cost them $14,000 more than it would earn. But walking away means defaulting on contracts, so they harvest anyway, just to lose less. #5. Cotton. A soft crop with hard edges. Cotton fields used to symbolize the economic engine of the South. Now, they're reminders of what it costs to keep hope alive. The cost to harvest exceeds the market price. Foreign imports from Asia undercut American growers. Even US fashion brands have turned their backs. Cotton gins are shutting down. Main Street diners going quiet. And in small towns across Texas and Mississippi, generations of cotton farmers are realizing sentiment doesn't pay the bills. #6. Sorghum. The survival crop that couldn't once praised for its resilience. Sorghum has become another victim of the broken chain. Exports, gone. Contracts, cancelled. Storage, maxed out. Farmers are still planting, not because it makes sense, but because stopping could mean losing their land. For some, planting sorghum is now a legal necessity, not a business decision. And every acre becomes a weight, not a legacy. #7. Rice. The burden of stability. Rice was once a dependable friend to the American farmer. Now it's a silent financial anchor, dragging families under. Grain silos are full, but the phones aren't ringing. Buyers wait, prices fall. Farmers can't stop planting, but they can't survive it either. This year, many rice farmers sold their entire harvest and still didn't break even. #8. Pecans. America's forgotten luxury. Once called a savings account in the trees, pecans are now a liability. International buyers gone. Domestic demand low. Cold storage costs skyrocketing. Families who've grown pecans for 3 generations are watching their orchards become museums, symbols of a dream that outlived its economy. #9. Alternative crops, the promised lifeline that broke. Remember when quinoa was the future? Now farmers are begging anyone to take it off their hands. Alternative crops were supposed to diversify income. Instead, they demanded massive investment and gave nothing in return. With no stable domestic market and red tape blocking exports, these lifelines became anchors. #10. Sugarcane, a sweet crop gone bitter. Sugarcane once had it all: government support, trade protections, loyal buyers. But those protections are fading. Brazil, India, Thailand, all sending sugar into the US at rock-bottom prices. Meanwhile, our sugarcane mills are shortening their seasons, workers are getting laid off, and farmers are asking a haunting question: is it even worth turning the machines back on next year? The system is breaking. What does it mean when a farmer wakes up not to grow, but to survive? What does it mean when we leave food in the field, not because it is spoiled, but because the system is too broken to bring it to your table? This is not just a farming problem. This is a national emergency. We are watching the collapse of the very foundation that feeds us. So the next time you walk into a grocery store and see shelves lined with imported goods, ask yourself, how many American farms had to fail so that box could be cheaper? And how many more can we afford to lose before the land goes quiet forever? If you found this video valuable, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss our next story, the ones mainstream media often ignores. This content is presented to spark conversation and inform. We support the US Constitution and all federal regulations. This isn't about fear. It's about facing the truth before it's too late.